I want to tell you a few things about my boat, Beautiful Day. Beautiful Day is an Oceanis 361. She was made in South Carolina in 2004. She lived the first part of her life in the Chesapeake Bay. Then she was moved from there to Florida. Then she was relocated from Pensacola, Florida to Lake Lanier here in Atlanta, Georgia, where now my wife and I take care of her. She is a cruising Beneteau boat, a very beamy boat set up for cruising and not racing. Actually, the most annoying part about the rig, if you care about these things, is that there is a baby stay right in front of the mast. And that baby stay makes tacks uh, not as fast as you might want them to be, because the clue of the head sail has to clear this baby stay, and oftentimes if there isn't enough wind, then you may have to motivate the clue to make it across. Moving around the outside of the boat, one thing I really do like about it is this tow rail with many holes. So this has a couple of advantages. First, I can put a fender anywhere that I want. I don't have to put them just where the stanchions are. And second, if I want to tie any kind of blocks to the tow rail, again, I have many options of where I can put a block. Right now we have these two lifelines off because of our current slip. But normally I like to get on the boat from the stern, but right now I have to do it like this. All right, so from the factory, of course, it doesn't come with this Bimini and Dodger. A previous owner installed them, and they are very nice. Moving a little bit forward, now here we have the track for the Genoa. It's a very long track um, because it's ready for you to reef. Uh, you should reef sometimes. And right now the cart is set up. I believe this is the default position when you open the Genoa to the full size. But when you reef, then you're going to want to move that cart very forward, and it's ready for you to do that. This boat has cable rigging, so we have two cable shrouds going up to the mast, and there isn't a chain plate necessarily. They go down into this boot, which then below deck we'll see is connected to a kind of a waffle matrix at the hull of the boat. I like that these shrouds don't go all the way to the hull. So when you're walking through the boat, you have this very clear path on the side deck and nice cables to hold on the inside. So when it gets lively out here, you can hold on to these cables very nicely. Moving forward, we can see here that we have the line for the head sail furling system, the furling drum. I have no problem with the head sail. This is, I think, 130% Genoa, and it's great. Excellent sail. Nothing bad to say about it. Made by Neil Pride. I don't think it's the original sails. I don't. They would be 20-year-old sails. I don't think they're 20-year-old sails. Down here we can see the anchor locker and the windlass. So on this boat we have how much would you say? 30 feet of chain, and then maybe like 100 feet of rope after that. Yeah, that's right. Yep. And this powered windlass. Now anchors are not really a boat, part of the boat, but this is a Rockna, I think 35-pound anchor. I've never had a problem with this anchor. It always catches. It's excellent, and it always detaches. So all good things to say about this. Moving back from the bow, we have here one of the water tank ports. So this boat has two water tanks. Um, I don't remember the tankage off the top of my head, but for weekend sailing, when we fill up the tanks, we have never drained the tanks. We always have to deliberately drain the tanks, either at the end of the season or if we want to make the boat lighter. Moving back, let's take a look at the mast deck joint for a second. So this is a deck stepped mast. So the mast ends right here, and then there's a compression post beneath that. But here we can see all the points where the mast shoe allows us to put blocks, to redirect lines, and I think it's a good system. We can move on back towards the cockpit. Just a brief mention of the Traveler. Traveler is great. You can use it to adjust sail trim. The one complaint I would have about this Traveler system is kind of the direction that you have to grab onto these lines to start moving the Traveler. Um, it is difficult when you're in the cockpit to grab these lines and pull them up. You have to kind of you get a you have to get a lot of force on this and pull it up. So usually, maybe I'll show a better position, but I will stand in the companionway, in the first companionway step, so that I can get my hand here correctly and lift up. Because if I'm all the way in the cockpit, I have to reach way over the winches and whatever else may be here to grab onto this, and it's very uncomfortable. All right, so we are in the cockpit now, and I'm sitting on these stern perch seats. They're not original with the boat, but I think they're an excellent addition. We can see we have our engine instrument panel down here for the Yanmar 3GM30F. We have our, I believe these are the primary winches. They are Lumar 48 winches. I don't remember what the 48 stands for. They are two-speed winches. I cannot easily demonstrate that without a winch handle, but take my word for it. Moving back in the cockpit, there is a little deployable ladder back here. So when you're out anchoring and you want people to go swimming, you just throw the ladder down and they can go swimming. Then we have the big wheel for the boat. Whoever invented folding steering wheels did not invent them soon enough, because this thing really gets in the way when you're sailing. But otherwise, of course, you need a wheel this big to control the big rudder. This cockpit is, I would say, small. I wish it were longer. When we're out sailing with people, because of the binnacle position here and kind of how narrow it gets back here, it can get kind of cramped in this cockpit. Now, if you're the helmsman, you might assume that you're going to sit here and steer the boat. But I've learned that sitting here promotes a very uncomfortable wheel position, because you kind of have to hold the wheel like this. Second, you can't really read the instruments from that angle. You have to be standing up looking at the instruments. So you either helm the boat by standing up and steering like this, or what I prefer is whatever the current windward side is. Let's say it's like this, then stand here and steer the boat, and you can kind of see forward better. And it's a lot more comfortable to hold the wheel like this, or even sitting down. You can hold the wheel here and steer the boat like this. On this boat, I'm sure this is not original equipment, but we have a wind instrument, we have an autopilot, and we have a depth sensor. I think I touched them in the wrong order, and a chart plotter. So chart plotter is your typical Garmin or Raymarine plots and charts, and nothing interesting about it. The wind sensor and the depth sensor, of course, you don't want to run aground, and you need to know what your point of sail is. There's two shore power connections. There's one shore power connection for the house battery, I assume. So this goes to battery charger, and it powers batteries. The batteries power all the 12-volt systems on the boat. And it also powers the boat's internal 120-volt AC system. So I think there's three standard outlets, and they're energized when we are connected to shore power. The second shore power connection is dedicated for the air conditioning. So a Beautiful Day has a reverse heat pump air conditioning system. So in the summer, it's able to cool, and in the winter, it's able to heat. It is crucial to have that air conditioning system running in the summer when you are working on the boat, because here in Georgia, summertime temperatures can get above 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Working on an engine or working below deck in those temperatures is hell. You know, we owned Beautiful Day for a year, and when you're getting on and off the boat from the stern, maybe you step out into the sugar scoop, walk through transom back here, and then you have to clear this thing. This thing removes. So you can remove it. But what do you do with it? So for a year, I thought, oh, well, clearly you just put it off to the side, right? And then you can walk through. But if I had been a little smarter, I would have noticed that there's a groove here for these um, locating tracks. So what you are actually supposed to do is put this thing on the track and push it all the way down. And now you have a very easy path onto the boat. Here we are below deck on a beautiful day, and we're starting with the galley. So this galley, in my opinion, is very comfortable. It's very large. And here we have some prepping surfaces. We have a sink, and this sink is fed from the boat's freshwater tanks. So when you turn on freshwater pump at the instrument panel, then you can get fresh water. This is great for washing your hands when you are out because your hands will get dirty eating, working on things. So it's great to have a water source on board. Over here in the galley, we can see all the storage we have available. Of course, what is a boat without storage? So it's big, I call it a locker or a pantry of sorts. Here we have snacks, of course. Then we also have these nice uh, cabinets here, or whatever you want to call them. And they have this ingenious little locking design that these doors don't swing open when you're under sail. Gimbaling kitchen or stove. Over here, the most important part of any boat, perhaps second only to storage, is the drinks. And the drinks are going to be cold because the drinks are cooled from the runoff cold air from the freezer. Over here, your food will be ice cold. Icy. Then next to the freezer here we have a microwave. The microwave only works when you're connected to shore power. This dehumidifier is not original equipment. This is just to keep the boat from smelling bad. Next, just a brief mention of the engine bay and the kind of access that you can expect to the engine. So this is first this nice little hydraulic piston that opens up the companionway steps. And then down here we can see the engine. The engine on Beautiful Day is a Yanmar 3GM30F, which I believe makes 27 horsepower. I'm about to get some lighting going here. Boom. There we go. Moving back, we have our aft berth. Aft berth is very comfortable. I think if I had to stay on this boat for a very long time, this is where I would sleep. So you can already sit down here on the cushions, and then you can just lie down all the way. And there is space for a second person or more things to my left. And you can't see from there, but there's also access to the engine from the back. And when you're working on the engine, it's very important to have access from the back as well. Moving back, we have here another storage area. This is where we keep the trash can. And the very ever important knickknack drawer on Beautiful Day, full of the most important things that we need to find quickly. Okay, moving back, we have the what do we call this? The navigator table, chart seat, whatever you want to call it. You also get the 12-volt panel here. The first 120-volt panel and the second 120-volt panel down here. One of them is for the air conditioning. One of them is for the boat shore power system. Your radio, always remember to set it to channel 16 when you are sailing so you can hear emergencies. And of course, where I was sitting is storage. So here we keep some emergency items, the emergency plug, some other emergency stuff. Okay. Now for the seating area, for the cabin, the settee, I think you would call it, we have quite a lot of area actually here. So you can sit here, you can sit here, you can sit here, all around this table. And for working here, right here is where the air conditioner blows cold air over your head. And it feels really nice to have a nice cool breeze cool you down. This table lowers and raises. So when it lowers, there is a specially shaped cushion that you can put on this table, and then this whole area becomes a bed. And when it raises, it just makes the cabin a lot easier to walk through. Like I said earlier, this is a deck stepped mast with a compression post. This is the compression post. It is a big chunky piece of steel. And I was told to make sure to inspect the compression post every once in a while for rot where it meets the keel. Well, on this boat, I don't think I'm too worried about that. If you look down here, the compression post actually goes into the fiberglass matrix of the boat. So the fiberglass would have to rot, and that's not how fiberglass degrades. So I'm not too worried about the compression post. But if I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments. Also, like I mentioned above deck, the shrouds connected to the mast are connected to that boot that is on deck, and then that boot is connected to this. What do I call this? It's a rod. This rod, and this rod goes down and meets the matrix of the boat at the bottom of the hull. And so the idea then is that the compressive loads or the tensile loads, either one of the rig, get transferred not to the side of the hull, but they get transferred all the way down through the deck, through this rod, down to the matrix at the bottom, which should flex less. So is this better than having chain plates? Well, it's definitely easier to inspect because you can open this panel here, take a look at if anything is breaking or rusting, and then down here, maybe I can show you. And then down here, you can see how this rod meets this post, which is connected to something on the hull. So it's easy to inspect. Now, if I had to replace this, I may change my mind. But in theory, this rod, if all of this should be able to just go up. Have I said that this boat has a lot of storage? Here we have cleaning supplies. And over here we have nothing. So, and of course, under the seats, there's more storage. Directly under me is the air conditioning unit. Over here, there's a couple of holes. One of them I know is where the battery charger is. And over here is access to the plumbing. If you'd like to see the plumbing, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I don't want to show you. Now we are in the forward berth, which for us is this giant mess of storage. So what do I keep in here? Well, I keep the cushions for the cockpit, the life jackets, some seats when we're gonna sit out on deck, some inflatable water toys, extra lines, just a lot of stuff. Just a lot of stuff. Um, this is stuff that's too big to be hidden, so it has to be out here. When you're in the aft berth, it's, believe me, you can sleep here, and of course you can close this door and get a little bit of privacy to change. I can also change in the aft berth. Storage. And there's storage under here, and there's storage under here. Now, one spot that we haven't talked about is the head. So let's talk about the head. So Beautiful Day has quite a big head, I think, for a sailboat of this size. Here I am in the head. And to my left here is a toilet. There's a little Japsco toilet that is connected to a hose that pulls water from outside of the boat. Can I open it? Okay, it's not too dirty right now. On Lake Lanier, I'm not allowed to dump out. So there's a holding tank here. So when you use the head, your waste goes into the holding tank, and then periodically we go to a pump out station and we pump out the holding tank. And there's a port out on deck right above the holding tank where you connect the vacuum hose and then they suck it all up. Inside the head, we have another water sink for you to wash your hands. And then there's a shower, which we have never used. But I assume if you were going to be out on the boat for multiple days and you were getting a little bit stinky, then you could shower here. And the shower, I assume, is very comfortable. I mean, they designed this nice seat for you to shower. The shower head is detachable, so you can, wash your hair, wash your body. Personally, maybe I've gotten used to the head smell, but it doesn't smell bad in here. And you just have to make sure you keep everything clean, pump out regularly, replace the joker valve on your head, and use some chemicals to clean things up. I have found that muriatic acid, which is the brand name for hydrochloric acid, actually does a very good job of, um, I guess, killing the bacteria or dissolving the mineral deposits that create the bad head smell. That is a brief tour of Beautiful Day. Let me know what else you'd like to know about, more details. I've owned her for 2 years. I have seen every square inch of this boat by now, whether it's through maintenance or just for fun. And I know that if you don't own a boat of your own, it can be difficult to find out more. So if you're considering a Beneteau 361, ask in the comments, or if you're considering any other sailboats and you have questions about sailboat ownership, maintenance, sailing, or anything boating related, let me know in the comments and we can make a video about it. Thanks. Have a good one.